There are moments in life when a song reaches us in a way no argument, no lecture, no tidy explanation ever could. A melody enters unbidden and awakens something that had been sleeping quietly in the chambers of the soul. It is as if the notes themselves carry a whisper from another world, a language not taught by men yet understood by every heart that listens. What is this strange power that music holds over us? Why should the mere vibration of air stir us to tears, summon joy, or remind us of a longing we cannot name? It is because music is not simply sound, it is signpost, it points beyond itself. Every chord hints at a harmony our ears have not yet heard in full, and every dissonance cries out for a resolution we are meant to discover. Think of the way certain melodies seem to carry memory within them. You hear a tune, and suddenly you are a child again, or standing in a place you loved long ago. But the truth is even greater than nostalgia. The power of music lies not only in what it recalls, but in what it promises. When a song stirs us, it awakens the desire for something beyond this world, a perfection, a homecoming, a joy that no mortal symphony has ever completely captured. We have all felt it. A hymn rising in the stillness, a violin trembling in the night, a voice carrying words we scarcely believe yet cannot help but hope for. In those moments we are not merely entertained, we are being reminded. The music is a messenger. It says, there is more, there is beauty beyond the veil, there is a harmony that waits for you, if only you will follow its call. And perhaps this is why silence itself can sometimes feel like a broken chord, an unfinished song. For the silence makes us ache for the sound that should fill it. That ache is no accident. It is a clue, a heavenly message hidden in the very fabric of our longing. Music was not given to us by chance. It was given as a gift, a bridge, a fleeting glimpse of eternity clothed in sound. If you have ever felt your heart lifted, if you have ever been pierced by a note too beautiful to bear, then you have heard more than music. You have heard a summons, you have tasted the eternal in the temporary, the infinite in the brief passage of a song. So the next time you hear a melody that makes your soul tremble, do not treat it lightly. Listen closely, for hidden within it is not only the echo of heaven, but the invitation to one day join its everlasting song. Music is not mere sound, but a signpost pointing beyond this world. When we listen carefully, we begin to notice that music has a strange authority over our emotions, our memories, and even our imaginations. A simple melody can move us to tears without asking our permission. It can lift our spirits on the heaviest of days, and it can awaken within us a longing for something greater than the present moment. This power reveals that music is not simply a human invention of rhythm and tone, but a language that connects us to something beyond ourselves. It does not speak to the mind with words. It speaks to the heart with truths too deep for speech. Whenever we feel this pull, it is as if music is pointing our gaze upward, beyond the ordinary and into the eternal. Every sound wave may be physical, but the meaning music stirs within us cannot be measured or explained by science alone. A scientist can describe vibrations, scales, and harmonics, but they cannot tell us why a minor chord can make us ache with sorrow, or why a rising crescendo can make us feel as though the heavens themselves are opening. These responses are not accidents of biology, they are signals. They tell us that music was designed not just for entertainment, but for awakening. Its true purpose lies in pointing toward a reality greater than what we see with our eyes, reminding us that behind this visible world lies an invisible harmony, a perfection not yet reached but deeply desired. Think of the times when music seems to echo something you cannot name. You hear a piece and feel joy mixed with yearning, or you sense beauty that is almost too much to bear. That is the signpost at work. Music directs you toward the source of beauty, the fountain of joy, the place where every longing is fulfilled. It tells you that your soul was made for more than the shallow distractions of daily life. It was made to recognize and respond to truth disguised as melody. When a simple tune on a piano or the rise of a choir moves you, it is not because those notes are enough in themselves, but because they awaken in you the memory of something greater, something eternal. Even silence after music carries weight, for it leaves the heart unsettled, wanting the song to continue to resolve. this longing is another signpost. It suggests that we are not satisfied with fleeting beauty because we were created for unending beauty. Music becomes a messenger, reminding us that our restless hearts are restless for a reason. They are restless because they are not at home yet. The melodies we hear on earth are rehearsals, faint sketches of a greater song waiting beyond the veil. When we feel stirred by music, it is not the notes alone, but the truth behind the notes that moves us. Music has been given to us so that we may taste in small measure the glory that is to come, so that in every tune that stirs the heart, we may hear the invitation to look beyond this world and long for the place where all sound finds its perfect harmony. Every chord and dissonance awakens a longing for a greater harmony. When we listen to music, we encounter not only beauty but also tension, the interplay between what is and what ought to be. A single note I be pleasant, but when woven with others, it creates relationships, and those relationships either soothe us with harmony or unsettle us with dissonance. That unsettling feeling is not meaningless. It stirs within us the desire for resolution, the yearning for completeness, as though the music itself were leading us on a journey toward fulfillment. This is why the unfinished chord or the unresolved note lingers in our minds long after the sound has faded, because it has touched something deep within us, something that knows there must be more, that harmony must exist beyond the tension. The experience of dissonance is a mirror of life itself. Our days are filled with moments that do not make sense, circumstances that feel unfinished, broken pieces that cry out for healing. When we hear dissonance in music, it resonates with these realities. Yet, in music, we often see the promise of resolution, the way chaos can be drawn back into order, how the ear longs for the return of harmony. The very structure of music teaches us that tension is not the end of the story, but the path to something greater. It whispers to us that beyond the confusion of the present lies the completion we desire, the harmony we were made for. Every great piece of music takes us through this journey. It does not simply give us endless harmony, for that would grow dull and lifeless. Instead, it dares to introduce strain, conflict, the aching sound of notes rubbing against each other. We feel it as discomfort, as if the song is holding its breath. Yet, when the resolution comes, the release of that tension magnifies the beauty of the harmony that follows. This pattern awakens in us a recognition of how life itself must work, that suffering and struggle are not meaningless noise, but part of a larger composition. The ache we feel in dissonance is the same ache we carry in our hearts when confronted with the brokenness of the world. And just as music resolves, so too must the story of existence find its harmony. The longing stirred by unresolved chords is powerful because it reminds us that we are creatures who cannot be satisfied with what is incomplete. We hunger for wholeness, for the final chord that ties all others together. This desire is not an illusion but a compass, pointing us toward the reality of harmony yet to come. Music teaches us through sound what our hearts already know through longing, that imperfection is not the final word. When the notes finally settle into their rightful place, when the chord completes itself, we feel the joy of restoration, the relief of beauty made whole. It is a foretaste of something greater, a shadow of the ultimate resolution every soul is searching for. Thus, in every rise and fall of melody, in every dissonant cry and triumphant return to harmony, there is a message written into the very fabric of sound. It tells us that tension has purpose, that longing has meaning, and that every ache we feel in music and in life is a reminder that there is a greater harmony awaiting its final unveiling. Songs remind us not only of the past, but of promises yet to come. When a familiar tune reaches the ear, it has the uncanny ability to open the door of memory. A single melody can carry us back years, even decades, with startling clarity, as if the moments long gone were still alive in the present. We remember places, faces, and feelings that time had tucked away, and for a brief while we relive them. Yet music does not merely bind us to what has been, it also points forward, awakening within us a sense of anticipation. It plants in the heart the quiet assurance that the beauty we taste in fragments here will one day be ours in fullness. This dual power of musicette's hold on memory and its pull toward hope is one of its most mysterious gifts. When a song reminds us of our past, it is not simply a recollection of events. It often awakens the emotions that once accompanied those moments. The laughter of childhood, the tenderness of love, the sorrow of loss, all these rise again through the notes. But even in sorrowful recollections, there is often a strange sweetness, as if music assures us that none of these experiences are wasted. They are woven into the fabric of who we are, and the melodies that call them forth remind us that life, however fragile, is rich with meaning. In this way, music becomes a keeper of memory, but it does more than preserve. It interprets, giving shape and depth to what we have lived through, suggesting that behind every fleeting moment there is significance that reaches beyond time. Yet just as powerfully, music awakens in us longings for what has not yet come. A song may end, but its echo continues in the soul, and that echo does not simply point backward. It gestures forward, stirring within us the hope of fulfillment, of joy not yet tasted, of peace not yet grasped. When a melody rises and soars, we sense a glimpse of a future where every longing finds its answer. The promise is not spoken in words, but the heart understands it nonetheless. What we desire most deeply is not behind us, but ahead of us. The music whispers of completion, of a joy untouched by decay or time, of a reunion more real than any memory we hold. This is why music so often feels like a bridge between memory and hope. It ties together the life we have known with the life we still await. It reminds us of who we have been and hints at who we are meant to become. The melody that recalls yesterday is the same melody that promises tomorrow. Each note seems to say that the story is unfinished, that there are chapters yet to be written, and that all the beauty we have glimpsed in fleeting measures will one day be gathered into a perfect whole. In this sense, music is never merely about entertainment or nostalgia. It is a messenger carrying both remembrance and promise, inviting us to treasure what has been and to lift our eyes to what will come. Music is a heavenly messenger, whispering that there is more. When we allow ourselves to listen with more than our ears, we find that music speaks a language the soul already understands. It comes quietly, without demand, without argument, and yet it leaves a lasting impression that no reasoning can erase. A single melody can carry weight far beyond its notes, as if each sound were stitched with threads of eternity. In its gentleness, it reveals a truth that words often fail to convey, that what we see and know in this world is not the full story, that behind the curtain of the ordinary lies a reality more magnificent than we can imagine. The whisper of music is subtle but insistent. It does not shout or force itself upon us, yet it lingers in the heart long after the final note has faded. This lingering is itself a message, as though the music is reaching into the hidden places of our being to remind us of something we once knew but have nearly forgotten. The longing it awakens is not for the song itself, but for the source from which such beauty flows. That is why no piece of music ever fully satisfies. The best of it still leaves us yearning. That yearning is the voice of the messenger, reminding us that the fragment of beauty we have encountered is but an echo of the fullness that awaits. Consider how music often arrives in the moments we need it most. In grief, a song consoles. In loneliness, it comforts. In joy, it magnifies what we feel, lifting it beyond ourselves. It adapts to every season of the heart, speaking what we cannot say and carrying emotions too deep for language. In this way, music becomes more than art. It becomes revelation. It tells us that our emotions, our hopes, our sorrows are not meaningless stirrings but part of a larger story, one that has a destination beyond this life. The message hidden in melody is that our experiences are not isolated or forgotten. They are woven into a divine composition that leads toward completion. The whisper of music often feels like home, even when we cannot explain why. A certain chord, a familiar hymn, or even a simple tune can make us feel as though we are being reminded of a place we have not yet reached. It is the strange sense of belonging to something we cannot yet see, as though the music is drawing back the veil and giving us a glimpse of the unseen. That glimpse does not satisfy the longing but deepens it, making us aware that the hunger itself points beyond the world we know. This is why music has always been bound up with worship, celebration, and awe. It carries within it the quiet but powerful reminder that the human spirit was created not only to hear sound, but to respond to truth. In every note, whether soft or soaring, music whispers the same message. There is more than the fleeting moment, more than the fragile beauty of this world, more than the silence that follows when the song ends. The melodies that touch the heart most deeply are not simply human creations, but reflections of a greater harmony waiting to be heard in full. They remind us, without words, that what lies ahead is far greater than what lies behind, and that every fragment of beauty we encounter is a sign pointing us to a reality beyond our sight. A melody's beauty is an invitation to join the everlasting song. When a piece of music stirs the heart, it does more than provide a fleeting moment of delight. It beckons us towards something larger than ourselves, something that feels endless in scope and eternal in depth. Beauty in music has a way of catching us off guard, arriving suddenly and overwhelming us with emotion. It might be the soaring of a choir, the trembling of strings, or the quiet simplicity of a single voice, yet each of these moments carries the same unspoken call. They draw us beyond the notes we hear and into the vision of a greater harmony that has no end. This is why beauty in melody never feels confined to the time it occupies. It seems to stretch beyond its boundaries, pointing toward a song that does not fade, a music that continues even when our ears can no longer hear it. When we are touched by beauty in music, we sense intuitively that it is not accidental. The sweetness of a well-formed chord, the richness of blended voices, the rise and fall of rhythm and tone, these are not random occurrences. They are glimpses of order and meaning written into sound. And this order speaks to us not in the language of command, but in the language of invitation. It does not coerce us, it does not demand. It simply opens the door and bids us come closer. The invitation is subtle but powerful, awakening within us the desire to be part of the beauty we hear, to join the harmony rather than merely listen from a distance. This longing to join is no trivial matter. It is not simply the wish to hum along with a tune or to be entertained by it. It is the recognition that beauty is incomplete if we remain only spectators. True beauty in music calls for participation. It tells us that our place is not outside the song but within it, as though our souls were made to contribute their own notes to the eternal melody. The restlessness we feel when beauty fades, the ache that remains when the last note dies away, is a reminder that we are meant to live within a harmony that never ends. The invitation of melody is to find our place in that harmony, and to add our voice to the song that was sung before time began and will continue beyond the end of time. Every culture, every people, every age has felt this call in its music. Across languages and histories, melodies rise that echo the same truth. We are drawn to beauty because it points us home. The universal power of music suggests that the invitation is not confined to one nation or one moment, but extended to all humanity. Each song that moves us deeply is a rehearsal for something greater, a practice for the everlasting song in which every heart will finally find its perfect expression. To hear a melody that pierces the soul is to stand at the threshold of that future, to be reminded that we are not destined for silence but for sound, not for isolation but for harmony. Thus, the beauty of melody is never only about the present experience. It is a doorway. When we are moved by it, we are not only enjoying music, we are being called into communion with something eternal. The invitation is always there, hidden in the rise and fall of notes, waiting for us to listen, to recognize, and to answer with the music of our own lives.